This is Mike. You're back with a workflow, and we have finished painting the doors, cabinets, and drawers. We have sanded. We took everything off. We scuffed all the surfaces with an 80 grit sandpaper. We primed it using our primer is specifically designed for going on polyurethane surfaces, scuffed polyurethane surfaces, sanded polyurethane surfaces. And we put one coat on the back of each door of our cabinet paint over the primer. And we put two coats on the front. The sides got about 3 coats, because every time we coated the side, the back, I did the side, and then when I did the front, I did the sides, and then when I did the second coat on the front, I did the sides again. So the sides have about 4 coats of paint on them, so it should be nice and sturdy. You could probably get away with doing 1 coat, but I do recommend you do at least 2 coats. We ended up doing 3 coats here, because whenever I put this coat on, I did this, and then when I did this coat, I did the second coat, and then when I did the final coat on the doors, I did those down here, and then I used a roller to put another coat on all the facings of the cabinet. So the cabinets actually have 3 coats of paint on them, 4 coats if you include the primer. And I must say, it turned out pretty nice. It looks pretty good in here. So I went ahead this morning. I went ahead and installed. We gave the paint at least 16 hours to cure. So this paint's cured for more than 16 hours. So it's ready to be handled and installed now. And you can install it. You can if it's a good quality paint like this Sherwin-Williams Emerald urethane trim enamel. It's some good stuff. If it's a good paint like that, it can bump around and things like that, and it's a very tough paint. I recommend it actually, y'all. I've never painted anything that 1 coat did the job, but this one came as close to just about anything. Really, it was me missing a little spot here and there, and that's is the reason why I didn't get decent coverage, is because maybe like down in one of these corners, I didn't get it down in here, the paint down in there. But after I did 1 coat, it looked really good, so I was pleasantly surprised actually. I went ahead and installed all the drawer faces and all the doors except for one big door. I'm going to show you how to do it. And this special door, this Lazy Susan door, I'm going to show you how to install it. I'm going to show you how to install this little drawer here and this big drawer, a small drawer and a big drawer. I'm not putting hardware on these because we use these things for years. And the way these doors are designed, you don't need handles on them. You can open them really easily. And I honestly we never were using these cabinets and we're like, all these cabinets need handles. No. Some cabinets do need handles, like if you have a high dollar recessed door cabinets. I mean, you've got to have, if it's a recessed door, it means the door is inside. The door is inset inside this, and when you're looking at it, the whole front of it's flush. You got to have handles for that. But these, you can grab these. It kind of depends on this edge too. The way this edge here is designed, it's got a radius, 2 radiuses, 2 radii, and you can grab it really easy and open it. Plus, with the cabinet bumpers on it, it gives it a little gap there, and honestly, you won't miss it. Even with the drawers, we never needed to have. You can open it easily with 1 finger. So you open it easily with 1 finger. Open it. So you don't need to put handles on these. Some instances you will need to do that, but we're not doing that here for this video in this project. All right. So also, I went ahead and put some masking tape, some delicate masking tape. Use delicate masking tape, otherwise it might pull your paint off if you ain't careful, if you leave it on there too long. But get out the delicate masking tape. This one here, it's by Scotch Delicate Surface Masking Tape. It comes in different colors, I think. But you want to put that here because we're going to have to set this thing in there while we put the screws on it, and we don't want it to damage the paint on the doors or on the mainly the paint here. The bottom of the door, who cares? Nobody's going to see the paint on the bottom of the door. But this here, they will see that when you open it there. And while I had this out, I took that Lazy Susan and I took that opportunity to clean the inside of the cabinet. I haven't cleaned the Pac-Man. The Pac-Man, I call these Pac-Man because they look like Pac-Man, right? They look like Pac-Man. So, I haven't cleaned those yet. I'll clean those. I can clean those after the door goes on. But I guess I could clean it now, but I've already got the screws and everything in there. But it doesn't matter. You can clean it just as easy with the door on as you can with off of it. What you can't clean easy is the inside of that with the door on it. So I went in and cleaned it while the door was off. Alright, so let's go over some things. Some notes. Yeah, I hope you guys are not fast forwarding through this because you need to hear some of this stuff. So some notes. After I primed it and I put the first coat on it, I went ahead and pulled, before the paint dries, the first coat of the final paint, the first coat of the final finish paint. I went ahead and pulled the tape off, the tape edging. And also, once again, if it's already a painted wall, use delicate surface tape. I went ahead and pulled that off before it dries, because if you put a second and third coat on there and you go to pull it off, then you'll have to cut it with a knife or something. It won't come off clean, and you might end up pulling the paint off the cabinet and have to repaint it. So after your first coat of your final paint, before it dries, go ahead and pull your masking tape off. And then when you go to do your second coat, just don't bring the paint all the way to the edge there, and just feather it in nicely. Sand the doors lightly in between coats with a 220 grit paper. Where's the 220 grit paper? Anyway, whatever. Sand the door lightly with 220 grit paper. You'll find it on there'll be like little I feel one right there. It's like a little speck of sand or something will get in the paint, or a little speck of dirt or something, and it'll leave like a little bitty rough thing there that you can feel with your hand. But if you hit it with that 220 grit, it'll knock a bunch of that stuff off. The backs are worse than any of them because I did that one first on purpose, because I was going to have to leave it down on the floor while I was painting. I mean, not leave it on the floor, but it's going to be downward mostly. So I went ahead and did it first in case there was any trash in my paint or my roller. It would come off on the back side and not on the front. I ended up using the same foam roller that I highly recommend for this because it really left a really good finish. And it's a foam roller. It's got a foam end too. The end isn't like a plastic piece. The whole thing is foam down through here. And it left a really great finish. Make sure you back roll. You spread your paint on and make sure with light pressure you pull your roller across it, whatever the surface is. You add moderate pressure to spread the paint out and get it nice and even. Go back and forth 3 or 4 times, and then when you come across there, just lightly come across it with that foam roller, and it'll leave you a nice flat finish. Wow, you can look at that. Look how flat and beautiful that is. That almost looks like I sprayed that. You don't get that. The foam roller is the only way I've been able to get that. I'm not able to get that with like a fiber roller. Alright, what's next here? You can wipe the edges with a moist sponge. Once you do your first coat, right? You put your first coat, there will be a little thin bit of paint around that edge. You can either not go to the edge, or you can just paint it to the edge and then take a wet sponge like this here, and then just wipe the back of it lightly. And it'll take that paint off there, that way you can set it down on things. Also, very important here, and I know people say very important a lot, but this one is very important actually, is that you need to lay these things flat while you're, like with this one here, I couldn't lay it flat after I painted because it was 2 sides, so I had to paint one side then the other. So I painted this side and let it lay down for at least until it was dry to the touch and the paint stops moving. And then I turned it like that and I painted this side of it. You don't want to turn it like this. This one, when I put the first coat on, I left it like this. After I put the first coat, I painted both sides. And I left it down like that. And I came back and the paint had run all the way in the corners here. Well, no, actually I left it like this. And so the paint run down in like this. The paint will run down while it's wet. The gravity will pull it down, and I had to fix it. But you want to leave them flat like that until they're dry to the touch. Okay, otherwise the paint will run on. Let's see. Now we're going to install this Lazy Susan door. We're going to install this drawer, big drawer, small drawer, and one door on this side, and then I'm going to show you how to square these doors off and make them nice and even and join together properly. So with these doors, I actually marked the back of them so I know where they went when they came out, and you can still see the mark after I painted it on there, but they're at the back of the door. I don't think anybody's going to care. Plus, this is, like I said before, if you were hard pressed to flip a property really fast, where you just want to get in there and paint those cabinets, you could probably get away with that paint, that emerald trim enamel from urethane trim enamel from Sherwin-Williams. You could put one coat on it possibly. That stuff was so sticky. I'm going to be honest with you. You probably could have just cleaned the cabinets and put one thick coat on it, and you probably could have walked away from it, and it'd look half decent if you want to do. If it's your house and you don't really care. But me, if it was a customer, I'm going to do it proper and do it the correct way. And here, I still ended up doing it the correct way, even though I said I was going to, take a shortcut, or I wanted to do it quicker, but I had the paint there and I had the opportunity, and I went ahead and did it right. So, and usually I do that. So, I hate to disappoint that I didn't do a half-assed job. But I have a problem doing a half-assed job. I don't like doing them. If I do it, anything worth doing is worth doing right. So, let's see. Okay, let me show you how to do the doors first. Let's get our door over here. This is our door. This is what it looks like after we painted it. We removed it, and if there's any gunk paint right in here, you might want to get that out with a knife, because it'll be hard to get your cup in there. And I did notice, since I only did one coat on the back, I noticed that there's some little spots here and there, like any little corners where I didn't get paint. I'm going to go back and touch them up just a little. And here's my marking for the doors. You can still see it's still visible, but whatever. It's the back of the door. When it comes to projects in home improvement, what matters is what you see. I put 3 coats on this side piece here, but honestly, nobody's going to see this. It looks great right now, but there's going to be an oven in here. This is all going to get covered up back here. But I had paint left over on my roller, and I had to clean my rollers out. And so I went ahead and cleaned the rollers out on this stuff. So I know it looks like I put a lot of effort into it, but it really was afterthought work. And honestly, it turned out pretty decent considering I didn't really try to do it. Also, when I was assembling the doors, I put some this tabletop countertop is clean, but I didn't want this stuff to get scuffed. Right, it's not as soft as this paper is. That paper is going to be what you want to lay it on. Oh, there's my 220 grit sandpaper. 220 grit sandpaper. You want in between coats, you want to sand to get any chunks or anything off there, or any paint runs. Now with these doors here, the only exception in here with how I put these doors in is that one where there was no center style. By center style, I mean like right here where there's a piece of wood in between the cabinet that the doors rest on. This one didn't have that. It was just open, double door with an open center. This is the center style I'm talking about, the center style. Sometimes they won't have that, and the doors will have to come together, and you'll have to mitigate that gap, right? But if you got a center style, you can just close it like that, and then it's not as important. Alright, let's lay our door like that. This is the hardware we took off of here. I find it easier to just close it like this for installation. Go ahead and close it like that and put it on your door. And in order to get it to recess down in that cup, the recess down, see it sits in a cup there, see how it's shaped? It goes down in that cup. It goes down in this cup like this here. Alright, so it lines up. This one already had the spacers in there. That helps you line it up and keep it straight. You could probably do it without the spacers in there, but I left all the spacers in just so it would be easier. And you'll notice that it doesn't fit down flush in there, see? When you go to put it on, it's a real tight fit sometimes. You had to beat it down. That's what I have this chisel. See it fits, see that little pocket right there? See it fits right in that pocket like that. Alright, let's put this one in. Try to line up the eye holes. You push on them, see if they'll go down. That one's not going flush. This one's not going flush. Especially if you get paint down in that hole, you will catch it getting it in there. It's best to try to scrape it out. But I found this thing here, this worked really good. Because it fits right in there perfect, and I just hit it like this. And then, oops. Oh, shit. Flushes it right out there. There you go. Flush. Easy peasy. Little tiny screws go in there. When you take all this hardware off, make sure you bag it up and put it in a bag somewhere where you can find it all. I got this on the lowest torque setting here. I don't want to strip these out. This torque setting is basically if you got a screwdriver and you hand tighten it as much as you could. That's what this torque setting is. Now, since this is hardwood and the screws I took out of there, they were really hard. The way these screws came with this cabinet maker, I think you need a specific kind of head that helps them fit better. But your standard PH2 isn't going to fit in it very well. So I actually went in there and I actually piloted out the holes a little bit, because when I first went to put them in there, they were hard to put in, and it was stripping them out. So you don't want to be when you're picking out your pilot screw for something. So you want a pilot for this size screw here. You want your drill bit to be the size of the barrel, not the thread. Right? You got your threads, and then you got the barrel of the screw. You want to put it up against it like that, and you want to be able to see the threads sticking out around it. That one's a little too big there. You want to be able to see the threads. Otherwise you'll just drill it out and the thread and nothing will hold. And you don't want to not do it enough. You don't want to not do it enough either. In other words, you still have the same problem of it being hard to screw in. So we left all, like I recommended, we left all the screw holes where the original where they were at. So I just got to drill those out where they were at. And they got a little bit of paint in them too. That's another good reason to do it. And also I used a magnet tip to start it with. Right, because it was really hard for me to hold the door and put a screw in it. So the magnet tip really helps out. This is the Hitachi magnet tip right there. One of my favorite magnet tips. My favorite adapter of all time, actually. Is that Hitachi magnet tip PH2. Alright, so these are 1/2 inch overlay doors, which means the doors overlay the facing the 1/2 inch. So just eyeball a 1/2 inch or 1 centimeter, 1 centimeter overlay. Now first we might want to tighten it just a hair and get this other one in. This one's going to work out. This is going to work out big. Really good, actually. The problem with those magnet tips, a lot of times they won't get in this tight spot here. All right. All right. Let's get it down, snug it in there. These hinges, they have like a little 2 dog ears on each side of the hinge part that goes onto the cabinet that helps center it on there, right? It's like you got the cabinet, it's got like 2 dog ears that go like that. That way it kind of centers the hinge on there for you. All right, make sure your dog ear is not digging into it. Make sure your dog ear is straddling the cabinet like this. All right, it goes on like that. All right, that one's already close to where I had it at, actually. So we're going to close. Well, you should do this before you put it on the wall, but I forgot to put the cabinet bumpers on there. I like the felt bumpers myself. They're quieter, I think. Got a little backing. Felt bumper. These are very kind of furry. Alright, there we go. Now you want to put this as far to the corner as you can here. Without it, but you don't want to see it when you close the door. You put it far into the corner there. And press it flat. Press it in place. Rinse and repeat. Alright, now you want to close it and see how it's closing. You want to see if there's play here at the bottom or the top. So you push on the door and see if there's play on it. That one's the only one I've done so far. It's almost flat. Sometimes these doors get sprung over time. I don't know what causes it. I've made cabinet doors before, and all of them I made were perfectly flat, and one of them I made after it dried, it sprung, and it was like a banana. And I don't know what happened with these, but this one here got sprung too, and there's no amount of. You can only adjust these things so much, but to get a flat landing surface here. If you're crooked back here, it's a lot better being crooked back here than being crooked here, right? If it's not flush, it'll bounce whenever it hits. So you hear it, it's nice and quiet. Well, this one here is sprung the bottom of it. I don't know if you can see that, but the bottom of it's actually, the bottom corner of this is actually off the cabinet, and it's touching up there. But I moved that hinge out as much as I could, and I even moved where it was screwed into the thing, because there's a little blade in between them dog ears. I slid it all the way out. I slid the bottom one all the way in. I adjusted the hinge all the way out. And I still had just a hair of, I couldn't get it all out on that one door there. But this one's already flat when I put it in. What I'm talking about flat is that this bumper and that bumper there need to hit the cabinet at the same time to give you a nice flat landing. So I'm gonna push here. That's not moving much. That's moving just a little bit, honestly. Honestly, it's perfect. I don't even have to do. I don't have to adjust that. But let me show you how to do it anyway. This back screw here moves the door. If you want to be able to rough it, you can hold the door like this, and this back screw here is going to move the hinge this way or that way. The back screw back screw. All your adjustments are here. There's no adjusting on where the hinge goes onto the door. Not on these are standard hinges. But there's no adjustment here. The adjustment is all on where the hinge attaches to the cabinet. There's 2 screws. There's 3 screws. There's 3 sets of screws. There's the screws that hold the cabinet, that hold the hinges to the cabinet. There's the front screw, the one you're looking at when you're as closest to you, and that moves the door. That moves this hinge in and out like that, in and out like that. The back hinge moves the whole hinge in this direction, right? One of them moves the hinge. One of them moves the door where the door rests on the cabinet in and out, and then the other one moves the door like this. Like you can move the door in this direction, or you can move the door in that direction. So I guess one will be X and one's Y, right? And then your Z is going to be where you screw your screws into the cabinet. You can loosen those up and move the whole cabinet up and down. Move it like if I close it here, and this door's high and this one's low. So let's do this in order. So first thing you do, you want to make sure your door is square to the cabinet. Okay? So what I'm going to do, you can either measure this point here to this point here and get the same measurement, or you can just get a level. Where's my level at? Put a level on it. Now, depending on the cabinets, it might not be perfectly level. You just want your bubble to be the same on the bottom of the cabinet as it is on the door. It doesn't have to be, the cabinet might not be level, and then you might try to level the door, and then you'll have something that looks funny. You just want the bubble to be the same here as it is. You want to get the same reading here that you're getting here. Okay, and that'll make sure that the door is square to the cabinet. That's step 1. Let's go ahead and do that. This cabinet's actually level. The door, the bubble is to the right, right? So that means the door's got to come clockwise a little bit. So we're going to adjust the front screws, because the front screws adjust what we're going to call the X travel. Come on, baby, move. Let's see if it's moving. Okay, it's going. Oh, that one's all the way. They'll only move so much. Let's push this one in. There we go. Now we retest our bubble. It's getting there. We'll do the bottom. Should be close to it there. Yep, that's the level. Actually, I went a little too far there. That's it right there. So, there we go. We've leveled that one. And if your door's got a gap up here and the bumper's hitting here, then you'll adjust this back, use the back screw. You'll adjust it in and out until you get both bumpers need to hit flat like that. See how quiet that was when both bumpers hit flat? Super quiet. That's that. And now we need to look at both doors. Now the doors need to be the same height. So this door here is obviously higher than that door. Now we're either going to lower a door or raise a door. Honestly, these reveals look really good. That door there is Which one's closer to the trim? This one's closer to the trim, so this one needs to come down a little bit. Yep, this one here needs to come down just a hair. So we're going to loosen up. We're going to loosen up these screws here. You're going to loosen up the screws that attach the hinge, the whole assembly to the cabinet. The two main screws. You're going to loosen those up just a little bit, just so your hinge will slide. You can do one hinge and push it, see if it'll push down, and then do the other one. But here we're going to have to do both. It's like, oh, I dropped a lot. There we go. Tighten it back up. Now we look at it again. That's pretty flat there. That is pretty flat. Now we're going to make sure everything's tight here. Oh, that top was loose. There we go. Voila. This one's got a gap at the top. Let me see if we can remedy it. So I'm going to try to move the door. I want to move, since I got a gap up here and it's flush here, I want to pull the bottom of the door towards me, or take the top of the door and go that way. See which one it'll do. It depends on what you got going. If you got any play, where to play that. There's no play here. There's a little play at the top there. Alright, there we go. That's flush. Now, there you go. This hinge is making noise. I think I'm going to have to put some WD-40 on that one. Alright, let's do this Lazy Susan door. Alright, now take a look at it. This Lazy Susan has screws through this plastic piece here. It's got holes here through the plastic pieces on it. There's got six on each level. But there's only, with the way this door is designed, it's just you obviously can't put one through the center panel. It's just on the outside edges here. So I'm going to set this in here. I'm going to line it up first. I've got it upside down. Right, the bottom. There's two holes. There's a hole here, hole here, hole here, hole here. Obviously, this is on the bottom here. Obviously. All right, let's put the Pac-Man like that. Let's slide this into the Pac-Man. Now let's try to get it in the corner there. See, this is why I put the masking. This is why I put the masking tape on the bottom edge there, so I didn't mess it up where it's sitting on it. All right, let's see if we can turn the Pac-Man. All right, there we go. Now I'm gonna see if I can get a screw started here. It's gonna be easier said than done, I feel. Oh, there we go. One. The magnet tip is not working for me on this one. to get them close. I'm not going to snug them down. I'm just going to get them close. I want to get them all started first. I recommend if you're using an impact gun to set it on the lowest setting, because you don't want to strip these out. It's just going to make a lot of work for you. Let's see if I can hand start them on first. Don't seem to want to line up right. This was easier than I thought it was going to be, actually. I thought this was going to be really hard. What's hard is installing this thing inside there. Getting this post and all that stuff in there. You got to get you a plumb bob and do all your measurements, calculate where you need to put that rod at, and that rod's got to be perfectly plumb and level. It's got to be perfectly plumb, I mean. Alright, I'm just going to snug them in there a little bit. See, I can clean that easily like that, so I'm not really that concerned about it. Now, before I snug it down, I want to look and see if there's anything off here. And something is off. What is going on here? It doesn't look right for some reason. I think it has something to do with this mechanical thing here, and not so much the door. As I'm looking at the door is flush here. I can try to tighten it up, but it's flat to the Pac-Man on both sides. Let's see if there's a gap on the Pac-Man. No. I'm going to go ahead and tighten it up. Pull the door a little bit. I don't know if it's going to help though. Hurry up, let's see if it closes properly now. Nope, it is not closing properly. You can see it there when I go to close the door. Something's off here. Yeah, it's not, it should shut like that, right? So what I'm gonna have to do is, if you look at where these Pac-Man go onto this rod, you can adjust you loosen up that adjustment screw right there, and you can adjust the Pac-Man a little bit where the door is at on it, on the rod. What it is, the rod is the center point where the rod wants to lock is off about 2 degrees, looks like 1 or 2 degrees. So we're going to loosen that bolt there and that bolt there a little bit, and that should allow us to rotate these Pac-Man a little bit, 1 or 2 degrees, to get the proper close on that, because that's not right there. It needs to be like this, like that more specifically, and that'll give you a perfect close. For the purpose of this video, we're not doing that right now. Well, maybe we will, I don't know. Let's see how we're all the time. I just want to give you the gist of it. Well, I'm not going to get into that right now. Let's go ahead and rack this up here. And we'll adjust that later. Alright, let's do this big one. I went ahead and set the screws in there. You need to make sure your screws need to stick all the way through this plate and stick into your board, into your drawer face, to your slab. They call it a slab because that's what it looks like. It's a wood slab. I painted 1 coat on the back of these and like 2 or 3 coats on the face of these. So we're gonna for these bigger drawers, it's gonna be offset, right? The drawer is going to be offset a little bit, so your screws should be, the wider edge should be at the top, right? If you measure between where these screws are at and those screws, the wider edge, which one of these distances is the widest, should go at the top. That's for the big ones mostly. For these big ones anyway. Alright, don't snug them tight, just get them in there for now. Hand start them. 1 or 2 turns into it. And then kind of get them in there. And close to the drawer face. Alright. Take a look at it, try to get it lined up. This one says it's got to go as far to this way as I can get it. Alright, let's get it stripped out. Now I'm going to go ahead, I snug them up with the gun. Now, let's see if I can turn them with the screwdriver off. They're not turning. Nope, not turning at all. Alright, well we need to go ahead and put our cabinet bumpers on here. And you take the cabinet bumper and put it up. See, these cabinet bumpers are so wide they stick out a little bit, see? So I'm going to take it to the top, up closer to the top, and put it in the way I can reset it. So I don't want to see the cabinet bumper from the front when I'm looking at the cabinet. A little more. Don't forget to press them. Press them good. There we go. Like so, oh, I can still see a little fur. A little fur on that one. Put this one. Let's put this one on. Turn it to where if it's got fur like that, I'm gonna turn it to the inside. But you do need to put them as close to the edge as you can, because you don't want to close it and it miss this thing, because you only have 1 centimeter or a half inch, right? So even though this thing is like 2 centimeters wide, you're only going to get about that much of it. It's actually going to hit the cabinet. Only about half of it's actually going to hit the cabinet. Press them in place. There we go. There's 2. Last one. I've already put the bumpers on this one. These are a little tricky here, because these are usually, this one here is usually centered on there. This one looks like it's offset just a little. So let's sample it. When you're piloting these things out, be very careful, because that drill bit will try to catch that, especially if it's oak or something really hard. That drill bit will actually catch it and try to drive all the way through it. So be really gentle with it whenever you're piloting it. And if you need to, you can wrap you a piece of masking tape around the proper depth. That way you won't over drill it. I mean, it'll let you know where you need to stop at, but it'll still pull that tape. Alright, I'm gonna try to turn like this and see if it gives me the right reveal here. I think it should be flat on the bottom here, is what the trick is. So if I let's do this one here, it's closer. It should be flat at the bottom of the drawer, or pretty close to it. Alright, that's pretty close to it. Oh no. See, I put the bumpers on first, and now the bumpers are in the way. Pull off a little bit of paint there. Put your bumpers on last, people. Put your bumpers on last, people. Don't do like I do. Don't listen to me. Alright, I'm going to put those in. Let's see where that looks. That looks way off. This is not right here. There's somebody's drilled different holes over there. Alright, there. Somebody drilled the wrong holes in there. Still off big time. see what's going on here. There's 4 holes there. Am I missing a hole here? There we go. Wow. Looks like I got to move it over to the left a little bit. Oh God. I'm gonna have to fix that. This cheapo cabinet's about to fall apart on me. There. So what I ended up doing was I tried to line the holes up the best I could, and then I looked at this reveal here between this piece here and the other piece. That ain't right. Let's see if these drawers are bent. Drawer rails. I can look at it and tell you that it ain't right. Oh my God. This gap down here looks great, but then you look at the top, it's got a huge gap in the top of it. Looks like it's sagging down even. Alright, I think I got this one. This one's either upside down or the holes are wrong in it. I might have to, we might have to mount this one not using the holes. Let's see. It looks flush across the top, but the bottom don't look right. When I look at the drawer and I look at the slab, there's the same distance between the slab and the drawer here. But when I close it, it looks just got a huge gap at the top here. I think the slab's got to flip for sure. Try to flip the slab. this is it here. I can feel it as soon as I put it in there. Alright, let's close these two. There we go. I mean, it don't look that good, but it's definitely the correct orientation. Is it just me? It looks to me like this thing is like crooked like that. Let's see what we'll see now. Yep, it's crooked. Alright, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to tighten the top right screw. We'll tighten it in. I'm going to leave the bottom loose on this side. And make sure both screws are out of there. Alright. Now, we're going to move this level down to our reading to match the drawer below it. Alright, that's it right there. I need a clamp. You know what, I don't want to damage my paint. Yep. Yeah, that's about right. Now we're going to make two new holes. Maybe there's one in here. Feel like one. I don't want to overdrive this, so I'm going to use the tape and tape off the depth of the screw. Alright, I just don't want to overdrive it. I don't want to drill out the face of it. Still our bottom screw. See if we can, the bottom screw on this side can go in. Once you get a screw on each side, you can take the clamp out. Yeah, this one's got an opening. Normally you won't have to do this. What is going on here? The wheels are bent. I don't think that's the problem, I just ain't helping. Sometimes you have to fix stuff. Alright, that's much better. But the problem is that this door is now, needs to come to the left eighth of an inch, or about 2 or 3. 3 or 4 millimeters. Let's take a look and see what's going on there. Make sure everything's tight here. me. So, dang. I gotta move the whole thing over. This thing's gonna be riddled with holes. You know what? Nobody probably would have noticed this, but it's driving me nuts, kind of. Turn a 30-minute video into a 30-hour-long video. We'll do it a little differently this time. I'm going to line it up here and mark it. Bonus content, you get to see how to mount the face. So if we had to put a new piece of wood on here, this is how we'd have to do it. Alright, we want it to line up first, so let's get our work top and bottom. Alright, right there is it. So I'm going to take it out. I'm going to mark it where it goes across the drill face. Alright. Now let's mark where the top was at. Where do I have the top at? So they want me to know for sure, right? Put a level back on it. About there somewhere. Yep, there's it. All right. Should be. Let's make sure we've got the right reveal. Yep. Now, I'm going to mark the top of it, right across the top, so we know how, where it needs to be at. Now, let's get our lines marked, get our lines lined up. The line we made here on the end, and the line we made on the top. That's it right there. Now, let's get our clamp back on it. Actually, you know what? Let's do this the easy way. Let's take the drawer out. I'm going to set the drawer on the slab, like so. We've already got our marks here. Okay. Now, oops. Wait a minute, we move the slab that way. Just go ahead and put 2 screws in it and hold it down on this side. Okay. Now, there you go. Perfect. Now let's put our cabinet bumpers on. There you go. Now I'm gonna end the video here. But I'm going to mess around with this a little bit and see if I can do it a little bit better. I highly suspect, so the Pac-Man attach here at this screw, there's a set screw right here. You can loosen that up and move the Pac-Man around on the rod. So I'm going to do that so we can get our, get the proper closure right here. I'm going to move it just about 1 or 2 degrees.